Orphan is a psychological horror thriller film directed by Kwame Colette Serra. Now, this movie originally came out in 2009, and I was working at a movie theater when it came out, so I could have saw it for free. However, when you work in a movie theater, there's nothing to do, so you get free movies. And one of my coworkers ran up to me or someone else and said, "Oh, I know that movie. This happened at the end," and then kind of spoiled the big twist. So I didn't feel like watching the movie at the time because I felt like it wasn't worth pursuing. However, Netflix recently acquired Orphan First Kill, so I wanted to watch that one, but I couldn't because that one I think was a Peacock movie or something, or Paramount. It's a Paramount movie. So I was like, oh, okay, let's try. I've tracked down Orphan for $2 at a sale and said, I just might as well watch it. So this one is about a family, John, and I don't remember the mom's name. I'll just call her Mom. But this family has two kids of their own. There's Max and Danny. And she recently has a lot of trauma from losing a third child, but the dad still wants one. So they adopt a 9-year-old named Esther. She is a Russian girl who likes to paint, and she's an introvert. And I think the dad likes to paint or something. I don't remember. No, he does. He's like a seller of stuff. Like, I forget their jobs. But anyways, they adopt this little girl. She's charming. She knows the piano. She seems to be a lot more mature than they initially thought. And the little deaf girl Max, her younger sister, takes a liking to her. However, Danny, the older boy, he does not. He in fact, he starts bullying her with other kids at the school because she likes to dress up in weird ribbons and dresses and stuff like that. So Esther has some trouble fitting in, but the mom senses something is wrong when Esther pushes another girl off a playset and makes her break her leg. So this movie's not very balanced, in fact. The dad, John, he thinks Esther can do no wrong. And it makes sense because at the beginning of the film, he does discover her first singing. And she puts on like a little performance for him. And the mom just immediately has the heebie-jeebies, and she spends the whole movie saying, I don't want her around, let's unadopt her. And of course, every time someone tries to go up against Esther, they end up getting into a terrible accident. And you think this is an evil kid movie, but they tell you at the end what the deal is with this child. The movie does ratchet up a lot of tension. There's a lot of fake outs I didn't like. There's so many fake outs where someone opens up a fridge or they open up a cabinet and then you think someone's going to be there, but they're not. And then the movie gets really ridiculous because the dad, is getting gaslighted by Esther at every chance. And if someone just spoke out, the movie would be over. But the movie keeps going, and Esther keeps escalating things to try to isolate the mom away from the family and everything like that. And the movie's pretty entertaining. It's really thrilling. It has really good acting and cinematography, and some pretty scary, gory moments near the end. Really solid horror thriller film. So I give Orphan a 6.5 out of 10. Orphan First Kill is a prequel film to the 2009 horror thriller Orphan. This one has Lena, her real name is Lena, as the sort of protagonist from the first film. She escapes from the Sarn Institute in the film's opening. The opening of the film looks a little weird because it's overexposed for like some deep fake CGI. I think they abandoned that like 30 minutes in the movie and just decided to go for body double and makeup because this movie is supposed to take place 3 years before Orphan, but in real life it takes place like 15 years later, and of course Isabel Fuhrman looks a lot older. But anyways, she escapes the Sarn Institute and pretends to be Esther Albright, a missing girl. The Albright family bring her back, and you think this movie is going to be a carbon copy of the first film, where she gets adopted by a family. Someone in the family doesn't like her. They meet an accident, and there's psychologists and doctors and people sort of giving her side eye, and then she ends up doing something terrible to them. But fortunately, Orphan First Kill takes the movie in a different direction halfway through. I'm not going to say what it is, but I like that. It adds another twist, but then it also makes this movie feel less of a psychological horror thriller and more of just a crime thriller drama, kind of. It's not very interesting when you sort of see it. There's not enough characters for her to mess with or anything. And I think they got the name wrong because in the first film, they mentioned there was a fire or something, and it was like the Colemans or something. And in this one, they're the Albrights, so it's a different family. So I don't know if there's another family in between this family and the one from the 2009 film. But either way, this movie is just okay. I obviously like Esther. She's a really cool protagonist. She's, you know, dangerous. I like the actress Isabel Fuhrman. Julia Stiles does a good job. She plays the mom in this, and they have a weird dynamic. And the movie, you know, starts off interesting in the middle, you know, when it has that little interesting little twist, but then it starts to get boring, and the movie ends up being a little bit more generic than I would have liked. Overall, simple film, prequel because of certain things that have to happen, but I didn't think the movie needed to be made, to be honest. You know, I guess they weren't planning on Orphan being such a huge hit, and it was, so they're like, oh no, we can't take the series further, so let's go back. And some of those Institute sequences aren't very good. I think the entire movie should have just been in the Soren Institute, and they should have just had her, because I think they mentioned in the first film as well that she killed 8 people or something, so it would have been cool just to see her, you know, in an isolated element, and having her escape from the Institute be the first, you know, prequel film. That would have been way cooler. But either way, this movie is just alright, and I give it a 5 out of 10.